Okay. Let's see. Well, that's X.
All right. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody who was ever on here. Oh, actually, we got 2 minutes to showtime, baby. 2 minutes. We got people on here already. And Cory, whatever platform you're working on, you can see the comments on the side. So please feel free to click on them or bring them on. So I'll show you how that works.
That's two. I got too many.
And hey, Jenna, what's up, dude? How are you? Jenna's awesome. She's a California refugee. She took off from California, and we'll be doing a live with her coming up next week sometime. So thank you, Jenna, for joining. Appreciate you. And Formula 350. Hey, let's hear the real news. I got some news for you. You're going to be shocked today. It blew my doors off when I heard what Cory's doing. So insane. Okay, you're clickbaiting me or what? No, man, we're really going to do this, okay? And I'll tell you, we'll get to that in a second. Yep, definitely will, Michael. And LOL, we hear you. Okay, sorry, Mountain Living. I was yelling at my cat. All right, technical difficulties, of course, always. All right. Hey, guys. All right, so welcome. Hey, Mr. Ken, hello from Jersey, right back at you from California. You're up late. Good evening. Hey, what's up, Ed? Or actually, DH, I'm sorry. David, what's going on, man? I'm here. Let's get started. Let's get this party started. 1 more minute, David. And from California, love to catch fish. I want to hear more about that, dude. We heard the audio. I'm so sorry, man. My bad. I was yelling at the cat. All right, Michael, what's going on, man? Yes, we listened to your rant before. Oh, you did? Okay. What's your solution you're providing? I'll show you solutions. Don't worry. I got solutions for you. Tony Korn, how about those sleeper cells? Coming at you, buddy. Jenna, what's going on? Hey, Jenna. Oh, that's Jenna again. Good deal. All right. And Larry Elder running for governor. I don't know. I think he's selling that medication stuff on Fox News these days. So I don't know what he's doing. Hello, Ramin. Hey, Mike. What's going on, man? And so she's not a real California. Of course she is. All right, Ramin for Lieutenant Governor. No, not interested. Thank you so much, Retired Life. I'm just a big mouth on YouTube. Jenna, excited to be here. I'm excited you're here too. Okay. All right. Hey, guys, let me introduce to you a gentleman that I met very, very recently, Cory. What's going on, Cory? You want to tell everybody where you're at and what you're doing? By the way, if you guys haven't seen this guy, please go to his channel. It's in the description of this video. This guy blew me away with what's happening and where he's at and what he's been doing. He's been in front of Congress, and he's got a great story to tell. Cory, the mic is yours. I want to put you on stage. Go.
I thought you were going to say I blew you away from my good looks, but I guess not.
Well, there you go.
So I am in San Diego County, eastern San Diego County, and it's a very long story how I got to where we are today, and I'll make it real short. I moved out to a very rural area in order to get away from the homeless problem, and I moved right into the massive illegal immigration problem, and it just turned into as you will find out, a disaster from there.
All right, Cory, where give us some background on your previous history. You're an Army veteran, Blackhawks, and how'd you end up at the border?
So I was in the Army. I was a Blackhawk crew chief and door gunner, and when I got out, I went and worked in the oil fields for a little bit in North Dakota, and that was a stupid decision. So decided to move back home. I'm originally from San Diego, so I moved back home. Went to used my GI Bill, went to respiratory therapy school, did that for a while. And again, I'll get into more of the background later because it'll make sense. But it's really difficult with the comments over here because I'm trying to read them at the same time. Yeah, I come up Pine Valley neighbor.
No, go with your story first. We'll get to the comments at the end here.
So yeah, moved out here and then basically had people walking down the road. So we just bought a house out here, my wife and I, and this was about 4 years, a little over 4 years ago now. And we're sitting on the couch and she's looking at her phone and she goes, "Hey, there's a on the neighborhood Facebook page, it says there's a large group of Chinese people walking down the freeway. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. So, and then people were commenting on it. So I hopped in the truck, went down the road, like 2 minutes down the road, and there were 60 to 100 Chinese people just walking down the road.
Okay.
I was very confused, and I got there first. Then Border Patrol rolls up, and they looked at me like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" I have no idea. You tell me what's going on. And from there, I got myself into a very deep hole that I'm in now.
Okay. And deep hole meaning you got pretty famous pretty quick, I guess, right?
Yeah, that hasn't come with any money though, unfortunately. Just infamous, I guess you could say. So we started looking further, and then we started picking up these ID cards that these people would leave, and then passports.
Okay.
And birth certificates and cell phones, and we were very confused why they would leave things like this. This is a Pakistani passport. I mean, I'm sure none of your viewers have passports that are ripped up like this, because when you go on vacation, you could lose everything, right? But if you didn't lose your passport, then your trip is still good. You can buy clothes, right? You can buy a phone. It's not fun to get a new passport if you're outside the country or inside the country.
Okay.
So then we started, things just weren't lining up in our minds at the time. And we knew there were thousands of people crossing every day, but we had no idea actually how many it was until we really started looking. And these were just a couple of friends and myself. So, I mean, I have binders full of this stuff. I have bins that we haven't even had time to go through full of this stuff. We have about 50 cell phones. We've gotten into the cell phones, and you just stop me when you want me to stop. Because
no, I love the story. Please keep going, because this is a great setup, and I'm going to ask some questions in a second.
Okay, so right at the very beginning, when we're just picking this stuff up and we're confused, why are these people leaving this crap on the ground, picking up cell phones? We found a completely intact cell phone and picked it up, and it was dead, but we plugged it into a battery pack to charge it. And we charged it, and we tried to get into it, and we couldn't figure it out. So this is a buddy of mine, and so we tried to get into it, couldn't figure it out, stepped away for a little bit, came back. We're looking at the phone, trying to look at the fingerprints on the screen to see if we could figure out what the numbers are. Okay. And then I Googled, what's the password on a phone? Just the default password.
Okay.
And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it opened up. And this guy's entire trip from Wuhan, which, right, I never would have known what Wuhan was until we learned what Wuhan was. So his entire trip from Wuhan to here, with pictures, videos, his financial history, everything was in this phone. So, and through friends and locals, we got in touch with some people, and there's a guy named Todd Benspin who works for the administration in Washington, and he testified in Congress with the information that we found inside this phone. Okay. And Joe Kent's wife, Heather Kent, is the one who helped us break down the phone and do an analysis on it. So at that point, we started realizing that this wasn't just trash. Obviously, it wasn't trash with passports and stuff, right? But this was much more important than just picking it up and storing it. And at the same time, we're wondering, why is the government not picking this up?
Yeah.
Why is just some bald, bearded dude picking this stuff up with some friends? Didn't make any sense. So we kept doing it. I mean, we're still doing it to this day. We're still this Pakistani one was found just a couple weeks ago. So
now here, I'm just going to put this in a way that my channel folks can understand it. So I'm talking about California accountability and laws and regulations that don't make sense and how it affects our pocketbooks. We never think about the stuff that's going on at the border because it's over there, man. That's too far away, right? Anybody that's been to Tijuana, though, in the past, I would say, prior to 5 years ago, you get what's going on. You see the signs on the freeway saying, "Hey, look for pedestrians on the freeway." Are you kidding me? So you see that, and then you're like, "Okay, I get it. I'm in San Diego. I'm close to the border. This kind of might make sense." And always we think about Californians. We all think about helping everybody out, especially with some of these bills that we have, like free lunches, free school, free Medicare, free this, free that, and that's all from me and you and your pockets, everybody out there listening. And we don't realize that it's not just the people who want to come to this country for the sake of having a new life. It could be a little bit darker than that, right? Does that kind of sum it up a little bit?
Excuse me. Yes. So when I testified in Congress, I talked about this stuff because people, and to this day, people still think that it was just Mexicans and Central Americans that came through, which is absolutely
contagious.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there were people that came through that looked like me.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you saw me walking around out there, you would probably think, okay, well, that guy belongs here. Well, we watched these people cross. We watched them get out of the cartel vans and walk across. And they were claiming asylum. Most of these asylum claims were fraudulent, and it will take the government until I'm not on this planet anymore that long to figure out which claims are fraudulent and which are not. But
well, I'll give you an average number here: 5,110 border crossings per day under Biden. Under Trump, a lot less, 258 per day, and that's across the whole southern border. Okay, so 95% lower, but we're still getting 250 people crossing the border every single day. Under Biden, peak was 312 aliens apprehended every 4 hours. That's a lot of people. 9 months under Trump, fewer encounters than 1 month under Biden. 54,947 pounds of drugs. Okay, who cares about drugs? Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it's all over Fox News and CNN. Nobody gives a damn. Fentanyl. Okay, even that we don't give a damn. All right. So I'm kind of a little bit crazier than that. I'm an older nut, and I read books, and I've seen things in my life. I come from a country that wasn't so great, and that's why we left that country and came here. And then you just see glimpses of these flashes of news here and there. And I saw you testifying in front of Congress about this open border is not about Mexicans and Colombians and Panamanians coming through. I was like, come on, that's got to be BS. I don't believe this stuff, right? And then I saw you picking up passports in the bushes, and I saw you picking up cell phones in the bushes. Then I saw the big box of stuff you had and the stuff that's plastered all over your walls. I was like, wait a second, this is a Tom Clancy novel. Previously, I did a story on what happened in Las Vegas, if you remember that biolab that was found there. Another one was found in Reedley, California. These were Chinese biolabs that had Ebola virus. They had HIV virus. They had the new COVID virus. They had all kinds of new things. That was Las Vegas, plus 2,000 transgenic mice. These are little white mice that you see that the scientists put on their hand, and they're able to connect their genes and make things happen so these mice can transmit diseases. All right, fine. Hell with that. You're crazy around me. Then Reedley, California. Reedley, California was a biolab that was made for crop destruction. What? Yeah, crop destruction. So, when I say these things, I feel like I should be wearing a tinfoil hat and saying, hey, did you hear what happened over there? But this is real stuff. And what bewilders me, it's not getting covered at all. Now, let's go back to your neck of the woods. So if I put on my tinfoil hat slightly, I can see the people from my area of the woods, Iran, or if you want to go even further, what happened with Hamas and, Hezbollah and Israel, terrorist cells cruising across our border. And you mentioned a few things that really caught my eye was that these are all military age males. We're not seeing a lot of females come through. And if we're seeing females, you mentioned one story that was really shocking. You got this black child. Was it a black child, or was it two black parents? What was that? Two black parents and a white child?
Two black parents and a white child, yes.
Doesn't belong. What's going on?
We saw this dozens of times. We also saw the children that were being drugged so they would keep quiet. It was disgusting.
And so the story is bigger than what normal human beings living in a house and going to work till 5 o'clock, coming home, and they're in traffic. They don't want to hear these things, but this is the other part of this is a business. And recently we've been doing the whole drug cartel thing, and if you kind of connect these dots, you can see things happening throughout our hemisphere here that are not normal. And these are actually a novel written by Tom Clancy or some John Grisham or something like that. This is stuff you wouldn't, I wouldn't even have dreamt half the things I'm seeing these days as reality. I wouldn't think California is in the hole that it's going to be in, or we want it to be in the hole that it's in. So anyway, let's take off our tinfoil hat and get down to reality. What are you seeing over there, and scare me?
Well, what we should really be scared about is our own government, and I know a lot of people already realize that. But G.O.A.T testified, and Tulsi Gabbard did as well, that there are 18,000 known or suspected terrorists in this country right now. So we believe, my organization believes, that number is much higher, probably double.
Okay,
at least.
Let's back up a quick second. What is your organization?
So because of all this, and because we were using so much of our own money, which we still do, somebody said, hey, you should create a nonprofit. And it was, at the same time when we were looking into these local NGOs, I mean, we haven't even got into the child trafficking stuff yet, right? But the local NGOs that were using our tax dollars to disperse these people and these children all over the country, and the children to unvetted sponsors all over the country. So, if you can't beat them, join them, I guess, right? So I created a nonprofit, the G.O.A.T Initiative, and we use it to raise money to combat child trafficking and to gather this intel along the border and then disseminate it directly to where it needs to go without the bureaucracy.
Okay.
And that's been, I don't think people really understand the amount of bureaucracy in this country. If a lone border agent sees something like a passport from a special interest alien, and we have hundreds of them, and inside the passport, if he's just sitting there eating lunch and he's looking through it, and he sees all these Iran, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, that's an important passport. This is how I explain this: is each document we pick up tells its own story.
Yeah.
And it could be a good story. It could be a heartfelt story. Maybe they did come here and it is a truly an asylum claim. Probably not, based off of what we saw firsthand. But most likely it's a fraudulent asylum claim, or they're here for much more nefarious reasons, like all of the fraud that Nick Shirley was exposing. I mean, I don't know how anybody's paying taxes anymore. The amount of stuff that we've looked into and we've passed off to the government, which most of it still hasn't, nothing's come of it. It takes so long for them to do anything that the bad guys are already gone. On to the next level.
And Cory, in terms of the refugee status thing, I want to give some people the insight into what that is. A lot of my heritage is Assyrian, Assyrian. We don't have a country; we just have a flag, and that's it, right? So we were defeated by the Persians a long time ago. We just got some people in Iraq, northern Iraq, and some people in Iran. We're Christians, all right? And so a lot of these Assyrians in the Muslim countries, they fled. And they fled for religious persecution. So I'm not going to get into the whole Islam thing, but I think that's a whole other show. We should definitely talk about that sometime. But there's no way, as a Christian, you can go set up a church in an Islamic country and do an outside prayer like they're doing in New York. There's no way you could do that. We are allowing things like that to happen, but that's a different topic. But what a lot of Assyrians did was say, hey, man, we're getting persecuted. Really, you can't find a job, you can't buy groceries because you're a Christian. You're not hijab wearing Muslim. So a lot of them fled. What does that mean? You sign up for a passport or a green card or a visa, and America says, okay, well, we may give it to you, we may not. You have to plead your case. Well, my son got whipped by the Islamists in Iran in the schoolyard or something. Okay, fine, we get it. Tell you what, we don't have room for you right now. Go to Greece, hang out there for a few months, and we'll give you a visa. Or go to Austria, or go to Germany. If you guys listen to Patrick, but David, his story is as a refugee, he left Iran and was a refugee in Germany for I don't know how many years. Same story with my grandma, same story with my wife. We went there and hung out for a minute, okay? 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, 7 years sometimes, until you were able to get a visa stamped. And then, hey, everybody comes to the airport with flowers and says, hey, congratulations, you come here. When you come here, you get, I think, 6 months of aid, and that's it. Okay, see you later. No free cell phones, no debit cards, no these snap cards that everybody's getting now. Now you're talking about people jumping the line. Okay, so let's go to the whole. I want to claim asylum. My life sucks in Guatemala. I want to come to the United States. They're not going to stay there and wait in line for a visa from the American government. They're going to jump through the border and go across. So all of us bleed, and our hearts bleed. I'm so sorry you have kids. Oh, how sweet. And of course, this is all a ruse for the most part. Now, you have a wall of passports and ID cards that I saw in one video. Shocking. Okay, and I want to deep dive into that, but I want to talk about a couple of things. We talked about kids in cages earlier. AOC was crying crocodile tears for kids in cages, which were actually put up by Obama. But what the hell is this costing me? It's costing me a bunch of border guys to hang out and do nothing and process people into buses that go to other parts of the United States. Okay, right? That's number one. Number two, it's going to cost me a cell phone for those guys. It's going to cost me their EBT cards and their SNAP cards and SNAP benefits. It's also going to probably have to put them up in a hotel or some kind of house for at least 6 months to a year. And most of them are not. Yeah, is that right?
Healthcare.
And let's not forget about healthcare. Measure A, was it Measure A? Yeah, Measure A in San Jose passed. That was 7/8. What is that? 50, 78, 70 something, 78 cents or something like that per 7/8 of a penny, basically. So almost a percent increase in your sales tax. Why? To help the hospitals and the emergency rooms. What do you mean? That's a lie. It was a complete lie. So anybody who gets hurt in anywhere in America, there's a thing called EMTLA, TALA. You break your leg, you go to the hospital, they'll fix you. You have a heart attack, God forbid, they'll fix you. And then they'll send you on your way and they'll find you and try to bill you for it. But you're going to get care no matter what. What these percent tax increases that we in California have been finding is for dental care. Now, out of all you guys who are listening to me right now, how many of you got free dental care? No? Yeah, I didn't see anybody raise their hand. I don't have free dental care. I got a damn good job. I don't have free dental care. Okay, I still got to pay for cleanings. God forbid I have a root canal or a cavity. All right, everybody here who's coming across the border is getting free dental care. So I want to hit you right in your pocketbook. So this is what we are now paying for. Now this is the surface level stuff. All right, Cory, dig in, scare the hell out of me.
So well, let's talk about the money. That's very important. And I wrote a paper a couple months ago about remittances, and this was specifically about California. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So if people don't know what a remittance is, it's money that someone here is sending back to their home country, Mexico, usually. 2024, it was $64.7 billion sent back.
64.7 billion.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. All right, I want to talk about that. Go.
So this is actually on my Substack, and I get into much more detail on my Substack. It's the same name as my Instagram and everything else.
Okay.
But
and I put it in the description link, guys. Go to that Substack and check it out.
So the three main places where this money goes are Michoacan, Guerrero, and Chiapas, which are three massively cartel owned and operated states within Mexico. So these people are in the United States, and they are residents, or maybe they're not residents, but they're sending $64 billion, almost $65 billion back to their home country. So then I was wondering, okay, well, what percent of Mexicans in California are on some sort of welfare? Any welfare, meaning, the healthcare or
SNAP,
dental, like you
no,
said, or SNAP or EBT or anything. And I don't want to misquote the number in front of all your audience right now, but it was an astounding number. So while they are here in our country taking your and my tax dollars for their family here, they're sending their own money. Instead of using it for themselves, they're sending their own money back to Mexico, which inadvertently goes to the cartels. It's just, and again, it's much more detail in the paper that I wrote.
Yeah, and beyond that, Gavin keeps talking about the fourth largest economy. It was 65 billion. You just said, right? $65 billion is getting sucked out of this economy and sent somewhere else. And I get it. Everybody's here has got a family. Send mom some money. I get it. Okay, but there's a human cost to this. There's an actual cost to you, and this is what this part of it is. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. So don't, and I agree. If you want to send money back home, that's great. Go for it. But don't take my family's money to send money to another country. That's not appropriate. We are way too. We
Fraud,
are
waste, and abuse, man.
Yes, we are a prosperous nation, and I believe we should help people up to the ability that we have to do so. And we don't have that ability right now. Not as a state, not as a city or a county or a country. We don't.
Okay.
We have too many of our own problems right now.
Agreed. So now we just talked about my household and my donation to the economy of California and the taxes that we pay. I get that. So drugs to me are not important. That's not on my list. I'm not living in a drug-ridden city like Los Angeles or maybe the South San Francisco or something like that. So okay, that's not very important. We don't see those people. Let's just put them underneath the brush. That's fine. Next up, a lot of people don't realize there is a huge sex trafficking and human trafficking ring / pipeline from Mexico. And you guys, I teach business at G.O.A.T College. So the first rule of business is increase shareholder wealth. And a cartel is a business like any other business. Their product is different. We may be making widgets and cell phones or something in our factory. They're making human beings and selling them to other people. So it's a widget factory, and their primary goal is to make money. And I get that, and that's fine. All right. But how big is that goal, and what's going on? And I'm going to connect the dots in another video one of these days very soon because it's so complicated. But this Chinese nationals thing that you mentioned is a very, very big deal. And if you guys listen to me, I'm a big patriot, and when I see a Chinese balloon flying over the United States, that sends me up, makes my mind blow. When I see Chinese companies buying land next to Air Force bases, that makes my mind blow. When I see,
for just a second.
Yeah.
So a minute ago, or when you opened, you talked about the one of the Chinese biolabs and how they were doing something crop related.
That's really California. Absolutely, that's over Fresno.
What was it that they were doing? The crop related
destruction.
Crop destruction. So on one hand, we have these.
They were making viruses for crops.
Of course, why wouldn't it be? I mean, all of our neighbors are doing that, right? So on one hand, you have these most likely illegal aliens, foreign nationals in our country making crop destructive viruses, while over here they're buying all the land around the crops in the military bases. And we're just sitting here trying to live our lives and going, yeah, that's bad. We should do something about that. Yeah, we have to do something about that. We can't wait anymore. Yeah. We don't have any more time left.
And honestly, everybody in California is really nice, and they're really loving people. And I think most Christians are loving people, and that's what it is. I want to help them, compassionate. But there's also a bad world out there, and I always go back to the caveman routine. We're all cavemen at the end of the day. When we want to hear a story, we sit around a campfire and listen, ears perk up. We want to hear about the tiger that killed Cory. Where was Cory? Oh, he was by the strawberries. Really? So you instinctively listen up, right? When a dinosaur that came and grabbed Ramin, yeah, he was by the pineapples. Yeah, so we don't want to go there anymore. So that's the human nature. But in your cave, you're not letting in the other people from the outside who were the two caves over. because you don't trust them. They're going to take your strawberries and your, cyber tiger meat or whatever it is, and steal things from you. This is a caveman principle here, and I think we've given up enough strawberries to a lot of people. Guys, it's time to wake up, please, and understand what's happening right underneath your noses. Anything else you want to add to this, Cory? And besides the child trafficking, the sex trafficking, there's also used parts happening from people. So if you ever wake up in a bathtub full of ice, and this is the cartel's business, anything that makes money, these guys will sell. Okay, and this is the nefarious part of it, and I don't want to get too deep down that rabbit hole, but you have to come out of your houses, guys, and look around your neighborhood and see what's going on. This is what's happening. And this gentleman right here, unfortunately, it's happening in his backyard. Cory, let's talk about the fires that were happening around your house. What happened?
So, yes, it is happening in my backyard, but your listeners probably don't realize it's happening in their backyard too. You just don't see it because you're in your cave and you got the walls up in your cave and you don't see it's right. It's everywhere. If you're in California, especially Southern California, it's everywhere. So when this first started, I told you a story about my wife told me about the people on the freeway. But so that was kind of the one catalyst. The second catalyst, or the straw that broke the camel's back, I was outside and I smelled a fire, and we have lots of fires, as most of the Californians know. There's lots of fires in the rural areas. So I was getting a little worried and drove down the road, and there was a camp of a couple hundred people who had just crossed the border. And when these people would cross, they were military-aged men, not all of them, but a good portion of them, and I have tons of video of it, were military-aged men, and they weren't scrawny. They looked just like a military-aged man in stature and height, age, everything. So they would come across and they would immediately start a fire, build a shelter, and then start bartering with people for cigarettes or food or water. Now, I can't remember if you and I talked about this, but I said to somebody recently, if we walk down the road, down the street, downtown San Diego or anywhere, picked out 10 men and said, all right, you have 10 minutes to go start a fire, build a shelter, and then get a cigarette, you'd be 0 for 10.
Yeah.
So these men were trained and they're here. And I pay almost $1,000 a month for fire insurance. If any of your listeners want to be able to beat that for me, I would please reach out to me. So I have a California unfair plan. And I was pissed because they would come across and start these fires and they would rip out the protected manzanita, which burns very well, and use that to keep warm all night. But I can't do that. I can't take the manzanita off my property and use it to
shelter.
Yeah. So we went out there, and I have a drone video of it. It's probably way back towards the beginning of my Instagram. There's 10, 15 fires going, just right in the wind's blowing in a ripe area for the fires to take off. Luckily, they never did in this area, but my friend Amy Reichert, she's been tracking the border fires, and they literally call them Border Fire 1, Border Fire 2. So it's not too difficult to track them. But she's tried to FOIA request CAL FIRE. They won't do it. One of the main, besides bureaucracy, the other big killer of everything that we're trying to do are the sanctuary laws. It's the sanctuary status for the state and the cities. It blocks these FOIA requests. It blocks everything we try to do. So if you try to find out anything from CAL FIRE, from the sheriff's department, any state or local agency, they will not tell you anything if it's an immigration related issue, which that's a very broad term that they use broadly. So I called CAL FIRE, or I called CAL FIRE and said, hey, what are we doing about these fires? And they said, we can't do anything about it. I said, all right, whatever. So I went to the Border Patrol station and said, hey guys, I know you're not firefighters. Can I bring you some fire extinguishers, some shovels, something, please? Or can I go leave them out there? They said, you can't do that. They could use them as a weapon. said,
Okay.
well, then maybe they shouldn't be here, right?
Correct.
And another point we haven't talked about yet is there's no wall. And to this day, right where this happened, there is still no wall. You could just walk right across.
We're talking about the San Ysidro, right? Where you go to Tijuana. Is that what the wall you're talking about, or past that? Past the checkpoint, right?
Way further east.
Got it.
So there's probably close to 15 miles of no wall just in San Diego County alone, where you can walk across. And a lot of people don't realize.
Walk across like you're walking to somebody's house.
Correct. Now it's in the middle of nowhere in very rural areas, but that's how that number you gave at the beginning of the show, 238 or whatever that was a day. That's how they're getting across. I mean, they're still climbing the wall and everything else, but for the most part, these people are just waiting for Border Patrol to go by and then running across into the bushes and trying to get away. But so I called Cal Fire back and I said, hey, what are we doing with these fires? This isn't going to work for me because my house is going to burn down and I pay too much for insurance as it is. And he said, there's nothing we could do. They're warming fires. And I said, I don't understand what that means. If I want to have a fire at my house right now, what do I have to do? He said, oh, you have to get a permit. I said, okay. What if I just want to roast some marshmallows with my kids? They said, well, you could do that, but you have to have a cover on it. And if an ember takes off and burns your neighbor's house down, you'll be liable. I said, okay, then I just want you to take my address down because unless my house or my vehicles are on fire, just remember, this is a warming fire for the rest of my life when I'm here. This is it. This is a warming fire. And they didn't understand. They couldn't see the difference. So another massive issue during the Biden administration, which has bled over and hasn't been fixed yet, is everyone's just doing their job. Just doing my job. I'm getting real sick and tired of hearing that.
Yeah, you and I talked about that previously, and that's terrible. Yeah, that's a terrible link. Yeah, I understand Roy's place. You're confused because you came in a little bit late, I think. But here's the deal: I'm bringing a very bad actor. And if you look at the news, I'm going to give you some news items here. On February 10th, El Paso Airport was shut down for 10 days. Cartel drones breached the United States airspace for the first time since 9/11. No airport had been closed for 10 days ever since 9/11. Okay, El Paso was the first airport to be closed. And in my video that I posted on Instagram, you guys can see the cartel drones dropping things. Okay, on February 28th, last day, U.S. and Israel strike Iran. Khamenei dies. March 1st, the very next day, a shooter walks into Austin, Texas bar and kills 2 people. FBI finds an Iranian flag on him, and his shirt says Allahu Akbar. Okay? Early March, FBI sent a warning out. This was on my video as well. California law enforcement, Iran is planning drone strikes on our coast from a ship targeting California specifically. Okay, so if these are just not dots for you guys to connect yourselves, I got more for you. There's a fire, not the Valero refinery that moved out of California, the refinery in Texas caught fire on March 23rd. That was also in my video. Explodes 435,000 barrels a day offline. Cause is still unknown. Then you got today is March 27th, and the videos that I remember seeing from the border where an Arabic guy saying, oh, you don't know me? You're going to know my name pretty soon, which is kind of scary to see, okay? And you got Cory showing you all kinds of passports from all kinds of, what are they called? Special interest countries, what it is? Special interest countries, special interest passport. All right, so that's where we're at, guys. And again, until this war is over, even after the war is over, Iran has done some pretty crazy things around the entire world. Don't forget that you guys are old enough to remember the Beirut Marines that were killed there. Don't forget the coal. That was also Iran. These are all Iranian terror activities throughout the world. So don't think that that's not happening. And what do you think, Cory? Do you think that's a reasonable assessment there?
So we have the original cell phone that we got us opened up an entire world of these Telegram chats. We're now in over 200 different Telegram chats talking about anything and everything nefarious that you could think of. So, and along the way, we've kind of skipped over how the G.O.A.T initiative was created, but I've picked up military veterans, current and former law enforcement, and we're all working this together. And then it turns out that there's this secret underworld of intelligence people, G.O.A.T veterans, so like myself, Global War on Terrorism veterans, who they weren't ready to hang it up, but they were done working for the government. They were done working with the I'm just doing my job people. So, they're running a business or doing something else, but they still have a skill set that is incredibly valuable. And I wish the government would exploit that, but they're not, so we are. We're using these people to help us go through this data and turn it into actionable intelligence. And so in one of these Telegram messages that we're in, it talks about potential homeland targets. And I'm not going to talk about specific locations on here, but other than that oil refinery that you were just talking about. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything about it, if that was a terrorist attack or not, but that is on the list that we found in Telegram. Yeah.
All right, keep going. I was told to shut up because I talk too much, so I'm going to keep going, brother.
So these Telegram chats are they're started in different countries. So the first one that we found was China, and then we found Ukraine, Russia, Azerbaijan, all of the stands, and it's I could go off on 7 million different tangents. So in one of these chats, I can't remember if I talked about this in my congressional testimony or not, but it's a Chinese one in particular, and they're talking about how to get a car in California and get insurance, and then use a address for like a local park or a library, and then apply to the community college and you have no income, you're poor. So then you get to use all of our benefits to go through school. And then it talks about after the community college, what to do to get into a regular university. But in the meantime, there's complete instructions on how to do DoorDash and Uber Eats. But remember, these people don't have a driver's license or insurance, and those are requirements to do DoorDash and Uber Eats. So what they will do is they will lease these accounts, like you, Raman, will be the account holder, and you'll lease it out to 10 different people for $500 a month. So they'll make the money, and then they'll pay you $500 a month, and then they get to keep whatever they make over that. I mean, we have instruction manuals for all this stuff within these chats. We have an instruction manual on how to break free from Border Patrol custody. And this was a Antifa manual that we found on the ground out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. Just the amount of stuff we have is insane. And we try to work with all of the different people that we can, all the different agencies that we can, but they are very busy rounding up people and deporting them. And I know we're supposed to be going after the worst of the worst, but I do not see that happening. I see us rounding up anyone and everyone we can to try and get numbers up. I mean, I'm not against that by any means. At this point, everyone needs to be deported. We're so far gone. We're not going to come back from 15 or 20 million, which is the government numbers. I think it's higher than that, just based on the amount of people we saw every day. It's costing us so much money and time. And I'm the last person that wants any extra law, right? Utilize the laws and regulations that we currently have, but we have done nothing while we had the president, the Congress, and the Senate to stop what happened from ever happening again. We've done nothing. The wall won't be done by the time we get a new president. The midterms are coming up. The Remain in Mexico policy where you have to, if you want to claim asylum, you can do so, but you have to stay in Mexico. You don't just get to come here and live here.
Right.
It makes sense.
It does. It's the old way of doing things.
That policy can be, as soon as Trump came in, that was one of the first things he did was reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy. That needs to be a law, period. Because when the next president comes in, all they have to do is make that policy go away again, so you don't have to remain in Mexico. And if this happens one more time, 20 million more people, the country's done. And I don't think people realize that.
I agree with you 100%. You know what I want to do? Do you think you want to take some comments? Are you done with some comments?
Yeah, I do. How much time do we have?
We got plenty of time. We have as much time as you want. All right. So I'm gonna put up my favorite guy right now, Dudley Budfucker. Let the man get to the point. I mean, I think I did. All right. So we're good with that one. All right. Let's go to the next guy. Will, boots for thee, but not for me. All right, interesting comment. Let me, by the way, guys, if you guys have an awesome comment, throw it up there and I'll put it in the chat right here so everybody can see it. America is at war. We must realize this or they win. I agree. Hey, you want you feel some of these, Cory? What do you got here?
People for profit, humans. That's a great point. But what we didn't hit on is when the cartel sells drugs, it's you get one hit and then you buy more, right? When they sell people, you get multiple hits. You get to use the person many times. One person is many, you could use over and over and over. And it's horrible to think about, but it's true.
Inventory. All right. This is all you. Sean, love is the answer. Okay. All right. Got you, brother. All right. This is all you, Cory. Thank you for sharing. Hit that.
Biden even opened up 200 gates in the border wall, helping the Mexican cartel's human trafficking. Yeah, that could be kind of confusing. So there's these floodgates within the wall, but what do you need to open the gates for if there's no effing wall?
Yeah, like you mentioned, over to the east of Tijuana. I'm thinking it's already too late. Michael Gestato. Are you there with Michael? Cory, you think it's too late?
No, it's never too late.
Not yet. Deal. All right, let's go to Jenna. Thank you for your service and thank you for sharing.
Please donate. Go to initiative.org.
Hit that, by the way. It's in the description for this video, guys. So please go in there and get your documents from Cory. Democrats act a lot like Palestinian terrorists. Yeah, but they do. All right, Cory, this is all you.
Recognize the script. There's only so many. I don't know. Is that to us or is that to the?
I think it's to the Democrats, I believe. So I'm hoping. Like I said, we argue a lot and uncover a little and prosecute nothing. By the way, I don't want to campaign for anybody, but dude, I love Michael Gates, man. I had an awesome conversation with him. The second conversation I had with him, and I'm going to be seeing him on next Sunday as well. That guy's a G. I think he's ready to slap some wrist cuffs and get some people going. Even politicians was what he told me. So I like that guy a lot.
I definitely want to answer.
Governor? No, not interested, Mark.
I definitely want to answer more questions, but real quick, we didn't get into all the different people that the Go.A.T initiative has taken to the border, which is,
let's go. It's all you. Go take it away.
Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, Sheriff Lamb, Matt Gaetz. Who else?
Who are these people you're naming off right now?
So Tulsi Gabbard is the Director of National Intelligence. Joe Kent, up until last week or the week before, was the Director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Matt Gaetz is a congressman. He lives here in San Diego now, and he's anchor on a show. I don't remember which one.
Okay.
Sheriff Lamb. I hope everybody knows Sheriff Lamb. I love Sheriff Lamb. He ran for Congress in Arizona. If you're in Arizona, vote for Sheriff Lamb. These people that came out, we watch these politicians pretend like they want to come see it in real life, and they don't. When they come out, they get the curated experience. When Tulsi came and when G.O.A.T came, we tried to make sure that no one knew we were coming out. We did a very good job because they saw everything firsthand. And I don't think I've ever told this story before. You get an exclusive right here. Can you play some music or something?
Okay, I don't have music. I got the boing. That's about it. All right.
So I got a call from somebody in Washington. They wanted to set up a tour with with the G.O.A.T initiative and the Speaker of the House and 12 congressmen.
Okay.
So it sounds great, but we can't tell anyone because once they find out you're coming, well, one, it's a security issue and massive security issue because they don't trust any of you. And two, they're not going to get to see what they need to see. This was 2 weeks before President Trump got shot. So
wow.
We were getting it set up and they said, can we have a press conference, right? Where there's no wall. And I said, yes, we can do whatever you want to do. My team will provide security. We will get everything done. And they were not about that at all. They wanted everyone to know they were coming. It was a show. It was an entire show. Look up Gates and Herb for control. Well, you might be seeing Herb and I very soon.
I love it. I love Herb. Herb is a great guy. I also met with him. And if you guys haven't seen that interview, check it out. And I'm going to be actually visiting you, Cory, as well soon. I don't know when. I think May 3rd, May 5th. I don't know. We'll be out there May 10th. I have no clue. Whatever. We'll figure something out. So, all right. We got some more here. Chinese. So many Chinese were flooding across the California border. And Chinese were even calling Uber for rides in the California. Yeah, that's true. All right, Cory, is all for you.
Matt Gaetz show is on One America News Network. Yeah, that's the one.
And Ramin has a great interview. Oh, thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. And what is this guy saying here? Support us at. Is that that's not you, is it?
Support no.
Okay. The CCP has a playbook. Yeah, they have a lot of playbooks. You have playbooks in your collection of goodies, right?
Yep.
Like army manuals.
So the CCP, yeah, we have them in Mandarin, which is interesting. So the CCP, if we back up to the previous comment where they talked about Jacumba, there's an area in Jacumba, it was Jewel Valley, and it's called Jewel Valley, and it's a little bit further east than that, but it's Jewel Valley something park. I can't remember. It's basically a massive electricity hub. And one of the end of wall sections, so where the wall stops, and then it's just you literally could just walk around it, was right there. So this entire massive electrical infrastructure that goes into San Diego, one of the biggest military cities in the world,
wow,
was right next to where these people walked in. And then it turns out we end up finding an ID card. This is on my Instagram and my X, but we find an ID card from a Chinese guy who worked on a power grid in China. It was his ID card from work. So there's also we've intercepted transformer-like, don't quote me on what it actually was, devices that we bought from China that had the ability to, once we installed them here on our own infrastructure, China had a backdoor switch where they could turn it off.
Yeah.
So they're hitting us from all sides, and we're just sitting here.
Even routers now, I think they've been banned at this point, Linksys routers, because they got the Chinese chips in them. Someone asked, how many sleeper cells? Where is it? Right here. How many? Is it right? Nope, that's not it. Hang on. How many sleeper cells are there? Do you think? Wait, where is it? Damn it. Somewhere in here. Do you do great here? How many current sleeper cells are there, do you think?
So that term is frustrating to me because my entire life I've heard about sleeper cells and I've never seen any of them.
Okay.
Now, if we're talking about how many, like Joe said, there are 18,000 known and suspected terrorists in this country. Now, sleeper cells, are we talking of like one nationality or one if we divide them into like motorcycle clubs, right? Are we talking about like the Hells Angels or just one?
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, is it a family who's set up as a two children family or whatever, 2 kids and a dog, and then quiet suburban home, or is it the 5 guys in a New York one bedroom apartment having pizza all day long, right? Something like that.
Yes. So there are different cells, meaning different groups who have the same beliefs. I guess that would be my definition. The same extremist beliefs, but also in that definition should be foreign nationals who have their country's beliefs at heart. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands. China doesn't just send people here for fun.
Yeah.
They may not have a mission or a goal today or tomorrow, but in 50 years they might. They might have. Jorge Ventura's done a lot of stuff on China, and
is that the guy that was in Tijuana with you? That guy?
Yes.
Okay, that's a cool guy. I like him.
About the mosque. Well, there's another thing we could discuss. So there's a mosque down in Tijuana. They're shifting gears, but we can go back to China. There's so much stuff on China. We could always go back to China. But it's just my vacuum cleaner. The mosque down in Tijuana was a hub for people from Muslim countries to go to and get their supplies and then come across into the U.S. So they help facilitate getting people into the U.S. illegally. But then we also had the NGOs on our side that would accept them. And we've seen the NGOs on our side, talk to the NGOs on the south side with radios. And we're just over here wondering why nothing's being done about it, like someone 100%. Said before.
100% agree that. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, El Paso, Texas, was caught sneaking in cell phones from a Fajay lawyer. I don't know what that means. Fajay lawyer? I don't know what that is. But anyway, okay, yeah. Hey, this is, I don't know. I never got to serve in the military. I was part of the Civil Air Patrol, but I always wished I'd served. And all of the military guys, that's what bewilders me about who's that guy who sent the letter against Trump. He was an astronaut. He's a congressman. You swore an oath to the Constitution to uphold it. And then, the first thing he was doing was sitting on his hands when Trump asked if your first duty is to the citizens who elected you or not. He sat on his hands, and it just bewilders me. He took 2 oaths. One, when he signed up for the Air Force or Navy, whatever he was in. Second was when he went to Congress and swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And it bewilders me how these people sleep at night. But yeah. All right, Ramin, what's your opinion on the oil refineries in California coming back from this? Well, I'll tell you what, Trump just opened up something, I think it's called the Sable Line in Santa Barbara. So that has now started, I guess, shipping oil again. So that's a good thing. And I think he's doing that through, who's the EPA guy? He was New York's senator. Anyway, he was in charge of the EPA. And he's not. Trump is saying, "Hey, we're going to trump your California laws with federal laws." So it's a good thing. Yeah, I think we can come back. Look, we're not over the cliff yet. We're still here. You think so, Cory? Are we able to get our country back here?
I think we are, but we have to make some drastic changes quickly, and the midterms are going to be interesting. But I think now's the time for the grassroots candidates to come up.
Absolutely, I agree with you. 100%. You guys, we got 2 more minutes left in here. I want to hear some really kick-ass comments. Come on, give me something wild that I've never heard in my life, and I want Cory to answer it.
Lisa,
here they come. Holy cow! I shouldn't have said that. Jesus. Okay, Mark Kelly. That's Kelly out of Arizona. Hey, Mark Kelly, you're absolutely right. All right. Wow, that's awesome. All right, thank you, Mark. Lee Zeldin, dude, you guys are G's. I love you, man. Awesome. Thank you. Good job. Lee Zeldin is in charge of EPA. Mark Kelly, yeah, the astronaut who didn't care about anybody. What is this? I had much more respect for him. Servants are servants, and misappropriation of embezzlement fraud. Absolutely. And Cory, tell me if you agree. I think politicians shouldn't be politicians. They should be businessmen like you and me, and regular good old folks who don't want to serve as a politician. Come in there, get the job done, get the hell out.
I agree. Term limits. I mean, I would do some very extreme things if I could, but you can only vote if you're a landowner.
Ooh, you're going back to the good old days, man. Holy cow, way back then. All right, fine.
Well, you got to have some stake. If you're just sitting in your mom's basement all day, why are you voting?
Very true. I like that. Eat top ramen and rice and a bicycle to work. Yeah, not interested, man. That was that one guy. He had the Hermes loafers. He was doing the homeless thing. Yeah. All right. Is it true the CCP bought land near Travis? Yeah, absolutely true. Hunter, but why would you buy land near Travis? Because you're a farmer? No, because you want to listen to radio signals and see what Travis is Strategic Air Command, by the way. So that means they got all the C5 Galaxies, and I think there were 52s stationed out there too. So that's a Strategic Air Command, big time. That used to be Castle's rig over in Merced, but they moved that whole base out. All right, they have brainwashed our youth. Yes, they have, not just for the past 40 years. 100% agree. We need term limits. Yes, we do. All right. Well, Cory, I thank you so much, man. I am going to come visit you. I don't know when. We'll figure it out, and then we're going to hang out together for a minute. I can't wait to see you in person. You guys subscribe to Cory's channel. It's in the comment. It's in the description of this thing, and also link to his Instagram is also in the description. Please, he's got some crazy stories for you guys to look at, and we all need to band together, guys. Okay, and even your neighbor who you think is a Democrat, go talk to him. Okay, yeah. He needs to hear from you guys. Every single one of you is in charge. 25 other people. Please go spread the word, and let's get this California back in our hands. All right. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Jenna, for helping out. I appreciate it as well. Cory, you're the man, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. All right. 3,